Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
We're live at the Miami Book Fair, powered by Life Improvement Radio, and I'm just excited. Neil Haley's show, and I'm with my co-host Eric Remmel. Eric, 8 years broadcasting. It's an amazing thing. I finally got the chance to interview Lisa Palais, and it was so much more fun. And you wouldn't believe just how Lisa and I had to reminisce, and what she's done, Eric, for the Miami Book Fair involving coordination of authors. We know Books and Books and all the different great people that are behind this Miami Book Fair, but what Lisa's able to put together for the media every year for an event is just top-notch, isn't it, Eric?
Oh, she must not sleep. I don't know how she does it. I mean, it's amazing to see all the great work and things they put together. But just on and on and on, and it amazes me every single day how much they do, and it's so exciting, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
All right, now I have another hybrid type author in a way, but I really like this fact that she writes children's books and adult books, and when I say adult books, books for Eric and I, not the adult books that we would not want us to watch, that our wives would not want to. So I'm excited to welcome to the program author Annie Barrows. Annie, thanks for calling, and that's just interesting when you talk about it. You cracked me up because the first question you asked me off air, and I went to your website, and I said, two different choices. Interesting.
Yeah,
take me down two different paths. But how many authors do you know that try, I guess, in almost a simultaneous way, write a children's book and an adult fiction book? How many are out there that do that?
Well, I can think of a few of them right off the top of my head, like Carl Hiaasen does that, but it's kind of a rare species. We two-headed authors, we are rare and strange, I believe.
I like that, rare and strange. Very good. So let's talk about, was this your first time attending the Miami Book Fair as an author, or have you been here before?
I've never been to this book fair before, but it's a famous book fair because it's the biggest one in the United States. And, yesterday as I was doing the visits from all the school kids who came into the campus, I was thinking, if you can run this fair, you could be a general in the military. This, running a war is nothing compared to running a book fair, I think.
Yeah, you're so right about that in so many ways, and it's very, very interesting. So, Annie, tell us your background. How did you become a writer?
Well, I studied medieval history when I was in college, and I got out of college and I looked around, and there were no jobs being a medieval historian, and I couldn't go back in time, so I had to figure out something else to do. And the first thing I decided to do was become an editor, at a publishing company. And after I had done that for about 12 years, I finally figured out that writers were having a lot more fun than editors. And so at that point I said, forget this. If these guys can do it, I can do it. I'm going to be a writer, and that's when I switched over.
Interesting. And so you said, then was it easy? Was it easy transition to go ahead and do that and get published? Because it's a challenge. It doesn't matter who you are. To become a published author is a very big challenge, and to get the book agent and all these different things. So when you said you decided you want to do it, you said, okay, I'll do it. Right?
Yep. And I got to say, my story is not particularly inspiring in terms of, hard work and, writing, being rejected 500 times. None of that stuff happened to me because when I first started writing, I wrote nonfiction for grown-up people, and my policy was to pick a subject that I knew a publisher would like and write a book about it. So it all worked out pretty easily for me, I've got to say. I wish I had a more hard-scrabble story that would inspire people, but I don't.
That's funny. So she's an overnight success, Eric. We don't hear that much often, do we?
We really don't. I mean, congratulations on all the success and everything that you're doing, and it's exciting,
because
it seems to be the...
I wouldn't say I was a big success from the beginning. I just got my books published.
I look at it as published.
That's the best part, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And so the journey to success, when did you see that? Like, oh my gosh, are people buying my books? What's going on? Am I getting reviews? How did you kind of evolve in that process, Annie?
Well,
say, okay.
When I first started writing the kids' books, I mean, I thought, okay, my mother is buying all the copies of these books. That's what's happening. And then very slowly I began to realize that actual human children were buying my books and reading them. People I didn't even know were reading my books.
How about that?
Yeah, that was like a shocking realization. You know, the first time I ever saw a kid I absolutely did not know, had never seen before in my life, walking along holding an Ivy and Bean book. I thought, wow, this is it. I really am an author. This is, you know, these books are working, and that was pretty exciting.
I mean, that's awesome. And so the children's book, what do you think you're more known for, Annie? Children's books or adult?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the groups are very different. You know, I wrote a book called the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society with my Aunt Mary Ann Schaefer, and that book has just been turned into a movie, and it certainly is, you know, a great bestseller. It's certainly been very successful. But, you know, so Ivy and Bean has been a big popular series for a really long time, so I can't really say which one is I'm more well known for. If you're 7, I'm well known for being a children's author. If you're a grown-up, I'm well known for Guernsey Literary and my other adult novel.
Okay, so let's kind of just jump into, Annie, your children's books and how you became a success with children's books and then how you became a bestseller. So, again, Annie, not everyone that attends the Miami Book Fair becomes a bestseller either. So we all know that in some ways. It would be nice if everyone was that success, but let's go to your children's book series and how kids know who you are. Tell us how that series started.
Well, the series began when my older daughter turned 7 and wanted to read chapter books, but they had to be kind of short because she couldn't read a whole lot. And so, you know, we did all the things you're supposed to do. We read The Magic Treehouse, we read Junie B. Jones, and then basically we ran out of stuff to read. And I thought this was kind of a major international tragedy because cool if you run out of stuff to read when you're 50, but to run out of stuff to read when you're only 7, that seemed like a real problem. So it seemed, you know, I was, you know, going to call the police or something, but then I thought, no, the answer is I will write a book for her. So that's how it all began. I wrote the first Ivy and Bean because I wanted to give her a laugh and give her something to read, and you know, I just sort of wrote about the stuff that she was doing every day, which at that point in her life was mostly making potions. And then it took off from there. The first one worked, and then I just kept going with the stories. And really, you know, I think that people want kids' books to be educational and all of that. My books are really, the whole purpose of Ivy and Bean is for kids to laugh, is for kids to have fun when they're reading them. And, you know, if I see a kid reading my book and laughing, then I'm a success. That's really all I care about.
Wow, interesting. Eric, ready to chime in on this? There's a lot to ask about her children's books.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you said you were, you know, writing them. You started with the first book, and then when it, you know, went along and it become very popular. Or do you have anything planned in the future? More series, more books? Or are you kind of just enjoying and basking in all the success?
Oh no, there can be no basking. Basking is a real problem for me. I don't do any basking. I've got my first picture book coming out next year, which I just have to say right up front, I am not drawing the pictures because nobody would want to read that book. Nobody would even want to look at it. So I just wrote the words. But it's my first picture book. That's very exciting. I've got 2 picture books coming up, and then I have recently. I did not expect that I would do this at all. I started writing a book about a little boy, Iggy, who's very, very bad. And that is turned into a 3-book series. Iggy's adventures are mostly based on all of the terrible things that my husband did when he was a little kid, which are just so funny. Most of the stuff he did is so bad I can't even put it in a book. But a couple of the things are the source for Iggy's adventures, and so I'm really having a lot of fun writing those books as well.
That's exciting.
Interesting. So you continue in that. Let's go to the adult area now of your success. How to become a bestseller? Was that a shock for you to become a bestseller?
Yes. That was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
Because this book, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, was a book that was begun by my aunt, Mary Ann, and what happened was she worked on it for many, many years. It's the story of the Nazi occupation of the Channel Islands in England during the Second World War, and my Aunt Marianne had researched it and written it and worked on it, and then she got sick right before it was finished and asked me to finish it for her. And so I took over the book, and my aunt passed away before the book was published. And so what happened was I was the only author standing when the book came out and became this enormous international bestseller. I have never been so surprised in my life. I had no idea I was going to become an adult author, much less the author of this enormous bestseller, and with all of the things that happen when you're the author of that kind of a book. So it was not what I expected to have happen to me, but it's opened the door to writing more novels for grown-up people, and I find the whole thing fascinating. So I don't want to ever quit either of them. I want to keep on writing for kids, and I want to write for grown-ups too.
That's awesome. And thinking about that, is that what you're going to be speaking about at the Miami Book Fair? Are you going to talk about this book you just talked about, or are you going? I'm going to be. Yeah. I'm going to be talking about my brand new Ivy and Bean book, Ivy and Bean: One Big Happy Family. That's why I'm here. So it's going to be a group of kids, and I'm talking together with another author, Megan McDonald, who writes a series for pretty much the same age group. So I think it sounds like what we're mostly going to be talking about is spoiled children and children who want to be queens, and where we get our ideas and stuff like that. So it should be kind of a gas. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. It definitely sounds like it. Where's the best place we can find information on you, Annie, so people can follow you and stuff like that? Where can we go?
You can go to my website, AnnieBarrows.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, which is Annie Barrows Author, with a whole lot of pictures of things that don't have anything to do with my books. My publicist really wishes I would take more pictures having to do with my books, but I just keep seeing interesting bugs and stuff.
Do you enjoy, Annie, going and reading, especially your children's book writer, reading to classrooms? Do you enjoy that process?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, what a great thing. What can be more fun than standing up in front of a whole group of wiggly little children and, telling them a bunch of ridiculous stories to make them laugh and then answering their questions. I mean, there's nothing better than making a kid laugh. And if I can do that, hey, what a great job. It's nothing's better. Nothing's better.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the book fair, and I appreciate you calling.
All right, thanks very much.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye. You're listening to Neil Haley's show, powered by Life Improvement Radio, live from the Miami Book Fair, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Life Improvement Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the expressed written consent of Life Improvement Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.